My name is Sydney Taylor. I am a professional bikini athlete out of Modesto, California. I got into bodybuilding probably 3 years ago. I mean, I've been athletic my whole life. I'm originally from Minnesota, where grew up with four brothers and a sister. We're always super competitive, in sports and everything our whole lives. So, I can even remember my first day at the gym. Like, I was so excited to go, and I was 12 years old. You had to be 12 in order to go work out. So, I mean, like, I could not wait for that day.
Having that experience that early in the gym, I think is pretty cool. And I see some people, bring their kids to the gym and kind of show them around. And I think that's definitely a good thing I like to see. I think it's just, if more people did that, I think we'd be in a much better place. So how do you think that experience though in the gym early on kind of benefited you
mentally? And then we all know about muscle memory, right? So I think, I didn't really know much about bodybuilding growing up, but I was a farm kid. I mean, I was like 6, 8 years old, hunting around like big old horses, big cows. I mean, lifting up hay bales and stuff. And if you think about that your body's already working out, lifting all that stuff. Then you go home after all those chores and you eat a bunch of steak, potatoes. I mean, this was dinner every single night. I mean, so it's like I was like pre-building, before I even had the idea. So I think with early on being like on the farm and then getting into the gym and being athletic, it just helped once I decided like, oh, bodybuilding, my muscles already knew what to do before my mind did.
A lot of people now will say like, don't let your kid, work out before a certain age. It'll stunt their growth, all this other stuff. But I think people forget about like a time before we were so sedentary and we relied so heavily on machines and things. Like, people had to be active. They had to actually like work and use their muscles. And it's hard to believe that would make, that would be a negative thing for even kids to be active. And, part of it's I think it's
even all like the, crazy, super hygienic, super safety stuff. It's crazy, especially, growing up in a small town where, I mean, food dropped on the ground. You ate it. 5-second rule. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's definitely a different time. I feel like we're living in with, definitely right now, even is kind of exacerbated that whole point, but safety and keeping kids safe, I think has good intentions, but a lot of times it just kind of leads to some outcomes we don't necessarily
I think moderation. Want. I think getting kids in the gym and working out, but monitoring, are they doing everything safe? Making sure they're working with somebody that knows what they're doing, just because you want your kid to get in the gym. Again, yeah, they shouldn't, but they should be with, either yourself as a parent or have them work with a personal trainer. There's lots of personal trainers. Like, as long as you're going to sign that waiver, they'll work out with you and they'll work with you. I've even worked with some kids in the past, and done some coaching with, like soccer and stuff. And I love it.
There's especially, I guess, with the almost sport aspect where kids are like specializing in sports and they're getting all the different coaches and trainers and, strength coaches and things. I think it's becoming more accepted from that aspect, definitely in the sports world. Just everybody wants to up their performance and things like that. But do you think from like your own perspective of growing up on a farm and having to use your body in a more physical way than most kids, especially, nowadays, most kids are on their iPads. They're not even going outside and playing around. But do you think that almost like set you up for success?
1,000% I do. I mean, like, I was really big into horseback riding growing up, and that's all core work. That's all leg work. I mean, and you're constantly moving. I mean, and anything that you are eating is being burnt off right away. And like I said, muscle memory, it just set me up for success for sure.
Yeah. And I feel like almost having that level of that physical activity, not just from an exercise standpoint, but also kind of a system building, your body and your organs and your brain, like all those different things, I feel like have to take, you have to almost take care of them from weird perspectives that we don't get to anymore.
I think even they say in sociology, I used to take, back in school and whatnot. I remember taking a sociology class where they were saying, our formative years, I mean, 1 to 4, you're bonding with your parents, and then So I don't remember, it was in between that. It was up to 8, but 8 to 13, you're setting up your body's, like physical, how it's going to perform throughout the rest of your life. How are you going to be an ectomorphic, mesomorphic, endomorphic body type?
Right. Yeah. And I think we also have a lot of almost like blame for our genetics in this day and age, when in reality, like we kind of all have these similar traits, these similar potential outcomes, but you see different people with different outcomes. And it, like I said, it does kind of sometimes be it's thrown on to, oh, it's just my genetics. But it, in reality, if we look back at how that person maybe grew up, what they ate, the way they, the way they were physically active or not, different factors certainly, I think, play a role that most people just don't even like comprehend how much a childhood goes into your physical and your mental health. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of mental health issues right now.
Oh yeah, no, even me coming off of these shows, like post-show blues and everything, I'm sure we've heard of them and whatnot. And that I was all like, oh my God, I went home. I am actually home right now, for the holidays, but I was just like, I need, because it's like, what's next? What's next? I feel as bodybuilders, we're like, okay, this is my goal. I mean, we even have our check-in times with our coaches, and we know it's like a checklist. We know everything you're doing. And then after your show, I mean, you're doing your reverse dieting, you're all of that stuff, but it's like, oh, I don't have a show. The schedule's not even out yet. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I think that's a big point in like setting goals and having some type of like plan afterwards, because the same thing kind of happens for competitors of like extreme, if you want to call them extreme events, where you have to train really, really hard. Like I did a marathon, and I wouldn't necessarily call that super extreme, but it's almost on the verge of extreme. But whenever a lot of people get done, they say like they have almost like a depression because they had this goal and this drive and this reason for doing something, getting out of bed,
A
basically a lot of
purpose. Yeah.
times.
Oh,
Exactly.
absolutely.
And whenever that's taken away, or you complete the goal, it's like, what do I do next? And I think a good piece of advice would almost be just like constantly be setting some type of goal, whether it's a huge event or just something small, like, I want to, a consistency goal. I want to be consistent. I want to hit the gym, X amount of times this week. And actually, like you're kind of saying, have that checklist, like, oh, I made it this day, I made it this day, and then kind of like
Absolutely.
keeps you going.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So how did you mentioned you got into bodybuilding, but how did you actually get into that sport?
I got into it. I knew when I was like 19, I was kind of a shithead kid and I was getting all sorts of things I shouldn't have been getting into. And when I finally decided that was enough, I was like, okay, well, I need to do something with my life. And I was like, well, I really love fitness. So I got a job at InShape, and all they had was childcare. And I was like, whatever, it's in a gym. I get a free membership if I work there. Super cool. And I started meeting all of these, in the childcare, their parents, and some of the other coworkers, they were all in the bodybuilding industry. And I'm like, what is this? And I was like, this is so cool. And so I started my one of my friends, she's like, why don't you try this gym called True Fit? And this was out in Modesto, California. And they're like, we'll get you a trainer, get you set up. And it was like day one, I was addicted. I was like, oh my gosh, this is super. So I basically started training for a year out there.
Gotcha.
Every single day I was out there. We did our morning cardios and then evening lifts. It was pretty fun.
The bodybuilding and powerlifting and a lot of those physical, very demanding sports, and probably even more to a degree with bodybuilding, but it's such a big commitment. You have to obviously be very, strict in your training, but also the diet has to be very strict, especially when it comes down to, the prep period and all those things. What did you think of that? Like, going from kind of just like a person who's into fitness and into all that kind of stuff to having to be more strict? How did that kind of challenge you?
It was challenging because it was so demanding. And I thought it was really extreme, but that excited me in a little bit. And I thought, this is something I've never done. This is something that I don't know if I can do, but I wanted to try it. I wanted to give it a shot, and I just wanted to give it my all. And, it was like a full-time job. I mean, you have to get to and it's exhausting, pushing yourself that much at the gym. It's exhausting and it's hard to get in that much food. I mean, people think, they see these, leaned out, people up on stage and they think like, oh my gosh, that person's skinny, they don't eat. But in actuality, we eat like 5-6 times a day and it's just ongoing on the dot. And I think that for me was my biggest challenge because I started out bodybuilding 5'7" and 97 pounds. And I could probably go three days without eating or have like a bowl of cereal and be fine. It was just like whatever to me. And so my dogs are fighting right now. Oh my gosh, sorry. But and so like eating that much was so hard for me. I was a wrestler back in middle school and high school and everything. I come from a huge wrestling family. And so I got into it. And so we were super used to like depleting and, having to watch our weight and this and that. And so it was cool to be on the other side. We're like, no, you need to keep eating.
It's very interesting, especially the wrestling aspect, because I feel like even though they kind of are opposite ends of the spectrum, it's kind of the same mentality of like, you got to stay on the plan. It's very plan oriented. You have to have a very good regimen and good discipline. I think you mentioned like just getting that job and you're like, okay, it's not exactly what I probably envisioned, but it's something that is around it. So I'm just going to go for it. I think that's really cool because a lot of people would probably be a little down about that. It goes to show in your situation, you never know where that a certain path is going to take you. You probably didn't envision that.
No, I was actually working on getting my yoga instructor certification. It's just like I was trying to work on zenning out. And I even tried to go back to teaching yoga at one point. And I was like, no, I can't. I need to lift something heavy. I need to put it in my death metal music and I need to rock out in the gym.
Talking about these challenges though, because I think whether you're a bodybuilder or just kind of the average person who wants to lose weight or put on weight or whatever, you're going to face a lot of challenges. I think that's the number one thing people almost don't think that when you reach a certain level that you have challenges anymore. But really, it's just like you face different challenges. You face new challenges or you face sometimes even harder challenges, But how do you think facing those initial challenges, was it something that scared you a little bit, or was it something that almost propelled you? And what did you kind of gain from that?
There was a lot of challenge. I feel like there was so many challenges that were thrown in my face all the time, every single show. And sometimes it had nothing to do with competing. They were like interpersonal relationships or, things at home, or it could be just nothing. And it always felt like the closer I was, that's when I knew I was going to do well. So it propelled me. And it was like, at some point I felt like anytime I saw something bad was happening, I was like, oh, something good is right around the corner. And I was excited. It got weird because I was excited that like some drama would pop off and I'd be all like, oh, my goals are right around the corner. Let's go. Something's trying to hold me back. Like something's trying to hold me down. And I'm like, nope, we're going through.
Yeah, it's a big point where people do like either they stop because they get kind of discouraged and they think, maybe this isn't for them, or, kind of like you said, where people just keep pushing through because that's, on the other side of that is really where kind of the most productive and the most, rewarding things are a lot of times.
Oh, no. Actually just recently, I just got my pro athlete card. But I hit a string of national shows, 1, 2, 3, like it. In my second one, I went to the Bahamas to go try to get it. And I placed second. And I was like, what they wanted me to critique was so small. So I was just like, okay, going to go to the second one, which was a week later in Charleston. And it was the most crazy string of events at Charleston. I came tied to second. And if you guys don't know, first and second place get their pro card at Charleston. And it took me 5 hours to get on stage. And so when at the night show, when I finally came up, and the night show came around, I assumed I was going to have like 2-3 hours, at least an hour and a half or something before I could get back on stage again. But little did I know they were rushing through. I think I took like a 30-minute nap in my hotel room. And then I like got up, started fixing my makeup, put on like the screen to watch to see where they were. And they were 2 classes right before mine. I was like freaking out. So immediately I run to my car, and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot my heels. So I went and had to go get my heels. And then I came back and I locked my keys in my car. I was like,
Gosh.
oh my God, I'm 5 minutes away from the hotel. So I like try to call an Uber. It was like 45 minutes away. And I'm like, no. So I book it to the hotel in my heels. I'm freaking putting on my heels. And I go to the stage. My class is walking off. I was heartbroken. I freaking got my feedback. I mean, like I cleaned up, like I stayed for the show, watched all the other athletes for the next 2 days. I talked to the head judges. I was mortified. I like felt they were like, yeah, you pretty much you would have got your pro card had you made it to stage. I was all like, in 3 months was going to be North Americans. And that is like a pretty big show. And so I was like, how bad do I want this? Like, all of those other athletes made it to stage. Everybody who got their pro card made it to stage. I didn't. Why? And I was like racking my brain. And I'm like, do I really want this? And I was like, at that point, I had to prove it to myself. I had to prove that this is what I was serious about. I had already been putting in, 2 years of work and stress and love, blood, sweat, and tears. And it would never give up on the gym, never get up on the fitness or the health. And I was like, but it's bodybuilding for me. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to give it one more time. So I got my dog and got in my Hummer and we hit the road for 3 months, stopping at all of these gyms all around the country, working on my computer from where I was at, checking in with my clients, writing workouts, but each and every morning, the first thing I would do was get to the gym, get everything done, check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I just pushed through. I remember getting to North Americans and then all of this drama started happening. It was crazy. Like 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, people that said that they had my back were literally trying to pull me down and like break me the night before I was supposed to get on stage. And I was like, gosh, like this is crazy. It was like, this is crazy. And I was like, well, this is what I want. This isn't what they want. This is for me. And I was like, I got to keep going. I got to do this. I got to make it to the stage. And I remember first being like in the tanning room and I'm just like bawling my eyes out. And they're like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. Just ignore me. But I was like, I got to do this. I just put my headphones in, put my feet up, made it to the stage. And I got first call outs at North Americans, or I got first at North Americans, which is a huge deal. It's a huge show. And I remember those judges that I had were the same judges that I had at the previous show where I missed stage time. They made me fight hard for center. There's a lineup of all of these girls. Normally, at every other show that I've been to, they go, move here to center, move here to center. Like they don't make me fight. They make me fight each and every single girl and then walk to the stage, come back. Even though like the lineup, it was pretty clear and pretty, because it's like I had pretty much got it that first show. So I just had those 3 months of improving beyond that. But they made me fight and fight and fight and fight. And finally, when they put me in the center, like I have my video online and my like facial expression and like my passion and my heart is just booming. It was the greatest moment of my life, I swear.
That's crazy. I mean, that's hard to believe. And to come back from something where you're so close and, I think that so many people are looking for a sign that is not good. They're looking, oh, that was a sign I shouldn't do this, or that, oh, that's a sign that I should probably just, take it easy or stop or whatever. Instead of saying that was a sign that I should keep going. That I think we're almost programmed to think about why we should stop and how we should, give up instead of,
people look for the bad and they look for the signs that like, okay, should I stop? And then I think people should stop thinking about what they should or shouldn't do and do what makes you happy. Do what makes you feel good. I've really been big on this, because I'm doing the whole, like, this is hippie from, I'm a, like California fied, I say, but everyone writes their own journey. Everyone's the author of their own story. Whether you want to keep going is your decision. Whatever you want to do in your life is up to you. You are who you surround yourself with. You get to write people in and out at any point in time. If you want to keep going to the gym every day, then go to the gym every day. If you want to stop, then stop. Either way, it's up to you.
Right. And I think so many people are whenever they envision themselves in that story, it's like whether it's on purpose or just kind of self-destructive, they're the villain, and they're the person in their own story that is trying to manipulate and then like break down the progress that they're making. And instead of being like the hero, what can we do to make things better? How can I overcome these obstacles and these struggles and these challenges? And it's just, I think it's almost like something in your life that has to change before your life changes. And it sounds weird. Like, how can something change without a change? Like, I just think it has to be, maybe it's from the outside, you're looking into somebody else's situation and you see, okay, this might happen to me if I don't change what I'm doing, or something like, a personal situation within your own life. It's not too detrimental. It's like, okay, if I keep doing this is gonna, continue to get worse. But I think it's got to be some type of situation that you see or you experience that just almost changes your whole mentality from like villain or victim, maybe even, to hero.
Absolutely. I heard it. I don't remember who told me this, or even if I heard it on, the TV and an inspirational thing, but they were like, somebody said, if someone is videotaping you right now and they're telling your hero story, what are you doing? Are you sitting on the couch? Are you doing nothing? Are you doing drugs? Are you drinking? Are you surrounding yourself with losers? Are you being a loser? Is that what your victory story is going to be? Or are you being a winner? Are you getting up every day? Are you, even though you're having a hard time, are you making the decision, the next right decision?
It's too, like, when you say that, it's about putting it in perspective, like what your life actually is and the opportunity that living actually is, especially, even as bad as things can get, like, you still have this opportunity to live and to make things better. And we all don't have the same starting point. We don't have maybe even have the same potential, but we all have the potential to be the best of ourselves. And I think so many people almost get, whether it's jealousy or, kind of going back to that victim mentality, to where it's like, I don't have what they have, kind of thing. But
yeah, that sucks. I mean, especially from, I see that in so many people, and I feel like I've, had the opportunity, or just got to experience living each and every single part of these lives. So I feel like I can relate to, all of these different mindsets that people have. I mean, like, I've lived in the trailer park, like, I've been homeless, like, I have been, I've had all of these downs, but at the end of the day, I didn't blame anybody but myself. I never looked at another girl and been like, oh, I wish I had what she has. And so when I see people doing that, I'll even catch my own friends doing that to other girls. And then they'll start hating on, a girl, and I'll be like, why are you mad at her? No. Why are you mad at her? And because she looks good. She took the energy to get ready. She took the energy to go to the gym. She, schedules her finances, correct, balances her finances so she can afford nice things. Why are you mad? You have no reason to be angry at somebody for choosing to be put together, And
I think it comes down to that, like, people who want to do like those things you're saying, who want to kind of better themselves, they oftentimes do, whether it be like personal up close or from afar. People will judge you or like talk down about you, because I think a lot of it is like, you can do it too. You just have to put in the time and the effort. And a lot of people are scared of both of those things, because there's failure, the potential failure in there for sure. From training and from competing and even just the struggles of everyday life, like, what do you feel like you've learned about yourself in all of that?
I've definitely learned that what matters at the end of the day is honestly what makes you happy. And through competing, that you can do anything and it sounds cheesy, because it is, You can do it if you want to. If you want something in life, anything, you can get it. You just have to put in the work. And like, to go back to those check marks, you have to make a plan. You have to, and like, you get the satisfaction of checking those boxes. Write it down. Write your goals down. Write how to get into those goals. I mean, this stuff is grade school stuff that we were taught. I mean, and I hope that the majority of us have the opportunity to get taught, like, write out your goals, write out how you're going to get them every single day, put post-it notes on your walls. I learned that you need to actually give 100%.
Yeah. No,
if you want something,
I think that's a huge point, that you have to give 100%, and that you have to, just physically writing it down, really. And then I actually, just from what I've been doing, and I haven't actually physically wrote it down, which I definitely want to, just to see how that can transform. But I've been writing it in my phone, and just saying, like, these are the things I want to complete. That right there has just been crazy, because and you might want something, but until you actually put down actual physical things you're going to do to get there, it's just still in, like, part of your imagination. But once you put it into sight, or write it
oh my
down, or
gosh, even like, I think manifestation is huge. I'm going to be honest, every single morning, I would scream at the top of my lungs, welcome to the stage, IFBB, your new bikini pro, Sydney Taylor. Like, I would scream that till my voice got hoarse. Like when driving down the road, people probably thought I was crazy.
no, that's funny. But things like that, like, you have to convince, I think the part of that is convincing yourself too, that it's possible. And a lot of people don't see the possibility when you're so far from your goal. Most people who are starting a fitness journey, especially, in today's day and age, are very far behind. They're not in great shape. They don't eat well, and a lot of times they don't have the discipline yet. And to them, it's like this crazy world. Whenever you introduce them to it, it's like, oh, I have to get up early, or maybe stay up late to do this workout, or I have to, instead of, stopping by, McDonald's on the way into work, I have to actually spend some time and go to the grocery store and, prep some food. And it's almost impossible to see yourself as a success in that goal, until you convince yourself, A, that it's possible, and B, that it's possible for you. I think that it's possible for you thing is big.
Oh, absolutely. And, I think taking time to just, yeah, like you said, you have to picture yourself as a winner. You have to picture yourself. You have to know that you are worthy of success. You are worthy of your dreams. You are worthy of your goals. I mean, you're worthy of the things that you want, especially if you're going to put in the effort to get them.
So when you started bodybuilding, kind of going back a little bit, like, did you kind of have a vision of what you wanted? Like, and when I say a vision, not necessarily like the belief per se, but like, did you have a vision of where kind of it was going to end up, like, today? Like, okay, I'm going to get it.
No. Okay. So I was just, I really like to enjoy life through experience. And so it was one of those things I wanted to check off my box and just do one show. And then I was actually, planning on doing other things with my life. I really wanted to do it to be a part of the community. I loved who I was surrounded with. And when I did my biggest struggle, was being skinny. Like, again, 96, I'm 135 pounds now. Like, it's been, just like constant, like almost like opposites end of the spectrum from some people. And my first show, like, I had no idea that this is what I was going to fall in love with but I was hooked.
How has your training changed since, you first started versus now? Like, what do you think has pushed you kind of to that next level?
I love the team and coach I have now. When I first started training, I think I was definitely kind of doing the old school bodybuilder way. Didn't really have necessarily a plan. I was just kind of going to the gym, and I kind of just had like a basic plan. Eat carbs, eat some protein, have some veggies. And my workouts weren't necessarily really styled to bikini. It was just kind of lift and go to the gym. But I ended up getting this great coach, Brian Milton from Team Flex. They're awesome. I was like, hey, these are my goals. And he helped me lay him off. And it's actually pretty cool. Like what I have is an app, and each and every day he sends out a workout, and he sends like things to check off during my workout that is tapered to being a bikini pro. And then my nutrition as well is tapered to being bikini pro and maintaining everything.
I actually talked to him on the podcast.
He's amazing.
If you haven't heard his personal kind of struggle with his own fitness and health, like that's something that is definitely, you know, inspirational. And I think a lot of people could relate just to his transformation, both, you know, mentally and physically. And you know, he has that. I think that's something special that he has, that experience that some people, and that's just kind of like what we were talking about earlier, is how some people would be in his position and they would just be like, you know what, I'm obviously not going to be a healthy person, so I might as well just, you know, throw it out the window and do something different. But he actually took his own struggle and turned it into, you know, he turned it into something that helps so many other people now, which is insane.
Absolutely. And he's just so like wants to help. Like if I was like, you know, I think I previously stated was struggling with those post-show blues, and I wasn't checking in, I wasn't going to the gym, but here Ryan is. He's like, where are you? What are you doing? Where are your check-ins? Let's go. You can do this. And he's just so inspiring, and he just makes me like excited to work harder. And he's like, oh, you know, you don't want to do this right now? Well, here are 100 other things we can do to keep your mind going, to keep your body going. And I'm so grateful to have that. It's like I have like, he's not more than just, you know, a bodybuilding coach. He's a life coach, and it's pretty great.
Yeah. And I think so many people underestimate and even undervalue the what a personal trainer or a coach, whatever it is, can bring for more than just like, here's how you do these exercises, because they really should be somebody who you're really close with. You know, it should be somebody who you trust and somebody who can have a tough conversation with. And if it's the right person, that will happen. And it's somebody that will keep you going, because a lot of times whenever you first get started, it's not an easy road. And it's a big, I think probably 99% mental. And it continues to be mostly mental, but at the very beginning, I think it's, you know, 99% mental.
You know what I always tell people that are just starting out, especially my new clients, like personal training wise, and I'm like, go get a new outfit, go get a new pair of shoes, like go feel yourself, look good. Because when you're excited to get up in the morning and put on that new outfit, put on those new running shoes or workout shoes or lifting shoes, you're excited to go to the gym. And I'm like, hell yeah, go take a selfie, go be that person, feel good in your environment. Like, because if you feel good, you look good, you want to be there. And
how do you think training other people has benefited your own fitness and competing stuff?
Because I think each and every day, like, or each day, these clients are coming to the gym, they're putting the workout. And I think the biggest thing is they're showing up, they're getting to the door, and that shows me that they want to be there. And that holds me accountable. Like if she can get to the gym and she's working at the hospital, she's a principal, like they have all of these things going on in their lives, why can't I go to the gym? You know, and that's always super inspiring me. Like watching other people do what they're supposed to do keeps me on track.
We talked a lot about you know, making a checklist and things like that. And a big part of a lot of people's journey, especially at the very beginning, is like, I don't have time, or I don't have whatever to get this thing going and get the momentum that's necessary. How do you kind of help people overcome that excuse, really is what it is? Because like you were saying, everybody that comes to you, you know, they have busy lives.
Absolutely. I always say it's going to be tough for the first month. I always say, give me 30 days. It is going to take, you have to make it a habit. Like it's brushing your teeth. It's going to feel like a chore the first 2 weeks, especially, and you might even hate it. And that's fine. But give me the 1 month, like get through that door. And if you don't want to come after that, then don't. Like, it's fine with me, but try to make it a habit. And once you do that, it just becomes a habit. And then when you're missing the gym or not going to the gym, it just starts to feel guilty. And you're like, I don't know. No, my biggest advice is, give it 30 days.
No, I think that's good, because like a lot of people will like give it a week, you know, where it's like, okay, this isn't going to work for me, but this is a big transition. It's a lifestyle change, and
They
it's
say it makes
weird.
6 weeks to make a habit and it takes 2 weeks to break it. So that's why you see a lot of companies and shows or and boot camps and things doing 6 week challenges, is because it does take 6 weeks to build a habit.
It's so weird how like we have these habits that we don't even realize we have. And whenever we try to build new habits, it's so hard because we see them as habits. You know, if we really, I think, wrote down like what we do during the day for maybe a couple days or a week, whatever, and we saw what we spend our time on, we would see what our current habits are, and we would understand that, okay, I've built these habits somehow. I can also build these probably healthier habits if I do the same kind of things that I was doing before.
To the point where, I mean, sometimes, people talk about their cheat meal and people get really excited. And, at the back of my mind, I'm like, gosh, yeah, I can't wait till I can have my cheat meal. And then I have my cheat meal and I'm like really disappointed. Like I feel gross and like sad. And I'm just like, I can't wait to get back off on my meal plan.
Yeah. So what do you do? Like, whenever you don't have a specific show that or do you kind of know like this is kind of what's going to happen next?
Actually, I'm in the unknown phase right now. I'm still staying, I'm still staying healthy. I'm still hitting the gym every day. I'm still, eating my macros and everything. But I'm of course I'm going to a show, to work the show coming up in Sacramento. I'm pretty excited about. I get to play stage mom and help the other athletes and stuff, and I'm super stoked about that. But a show personally, I would love to go to the Arnold, but you have to audition. You have to like audition for that and like get invited and stuff, which I just think is super cool. So I'm definitely going to try to hit that mark. But as far as like my next show in mind, I don't have one in mind.
We were kind of talking about the 6 weeks versus the 2 weeks. Like, does that sometimes like freak you out a little bit? Like, am I
I'm
going?
totally freaked out. I'm honest. Like I am like keeping my schedule so crazy busy. I went to New York. I went to like LA. I've been traveling like crazy ever since my last show, just trying to like keep my mind busy, because I feel like I'm also like moving soon. So I'm also trying to make sure like, okay, because I know in my head, if I pick a show, that's all I have to focus. Like that's all I get to focus on. And I'm like, well, I can't. I gotta focus on, the new house we're getting and this and that. And so I'm like, very, very weird for me, because I pretty much competed and stayed on prep for 2 years straight and just did like a string of show after show after show after show. It wasn't until I finally took like a 3-month break and then did a show did I turn pro.
What would be your advice to somebody who says, I want to do it. Last year I wanted to do it too, though. How can I actually get it done?
Hold yourself accountable. Ask others around you to hold you accountable. I mean, if you have a good support group, or even if you don't have a good support group, start looking for one. There are so many out there. I think if you're interested in competing, take a look at freaking Team Flex's program. I just highly, highly, highly recommend it. If you're not interested in competing and you just want to get into the gym, you hit your goals, you want to lose a certain amount of weight, or you want to increase your weight, you want to get, nice and big and everything, then just go. Get to the gym, buy a new outfit. I don't know why it helps. It does. And then surround yourself with a good support group and try to hold yourself accountable. And if you can't hold yourself accountable, get yourself a workout partner that can hold yourself accountable. Get yourself in a group fitness class if that won't work for you. So that group is holding you accountable. That's why they have those things.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a big part of the fitness journey is just finding, like you said, a good group or a good person, and then figuring out kind of what works best for you. Not just saying this is what this person does and they look great, so I'm going to do that exact thing. A lot of people fall into that trap. But if you figure out, and sometimes taking some inspiration from a person is important.
I'm gonna interrupt really quick. I apologize, but know your failures. Understand where you fall short. I feel like you know where your shortcomings are, then it's easier to get around them. Like me, I sometimes can be lazy. I sometimes can procrastinate. And so that I know I have to work around those things. I have to say, like, okay, I in order to, you know, give myself like a lazy afternoon, I have to get all of my stuff done, prior to that. You know, I have to, so I just say know yourself and then work around your shortcomings. And then, you know, everything else will fall into place.
If you don't know what you're not good at, then you're always going to be, you might create a
Stumbling.
plan. Yeah. You might create a plan that just is not, it doesn't fit. And I think another thing too is almost like in the opposite way, figuring out what you are good at and
Mm-hmm.
capitalizing on those. You know, there's definitely that conversation between like, should I get really good at what I'm good at or should I fix what I'm bad at? And I think to a certain degree, you do a little bit of both. But I think if you don't realize what you are good at, then you know you might try to be the best marathon runner in the world. But if you have, you know, the potential to be the best maybe bodybuilder in the world, and you don't give that, you know, its fair shot, or you know, try it out something, like you're not going to fully
Oh,
maximize your potential.
1,000%. I think all athletes should try all sports. I mean, you never know what you're going to be good at. You never know what you're going to enjoy. I mean, I had no idea I was going to like bodybuilding. I mean, I was trying swimming, I was trying CrossFit, I was trying running. I mean, like, find your niche by trying an experience. I think people are so in their phones or interested. I mean, a lot of people go to school, which I extremely encourage, but they're experiencing things through textbook. They're experiencing things through the computers and movies. I mean, if you have the opportunity, and everyone tries to use, well, I don't have time or I don't have the money to do things. Honestly, that is so bullshit. You can make, if you want something, you'll make time for it. I mean, you can do things that aren't going to cost you money. So I don't know. I think people should need to start experiencing more. That makes sense.
Absolutely. And I think almost we're put it to more of a disadvantage because, you know, the people who are on social media, a lot of times they don't get to see other things because the social media experience now is so curated to, like, if you watch one or two videos on bodybuilding, you're only going to see bodybuilding videos or bodybuilding posts. Like, you got to almost get out of your own, you know, curated feed and just go out into the real world and do different things.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think it's so much that goes into fitness and health and all this good stuff, and just a world of fun and challenges and all that. And it's really good to get to hear, you know, from your perspective and how you overcame some challenging times, and, you know, what you got going for the future seems like it's going to be really exciting. So just, you know, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
If you would like to, you can share where people can get a hold of you on social media.
My Instagram is IFBB _ Sid Vicious with a Y. So SYD Vicious.
Awesome. Well, sometimes we do get kind of curated into our own little boxes, but it's also a place with some positives to it. You know, social media can have some positives. You can connect with like-minded individuals, you know, have some positive conversations, some positive interactions. And I know there's
absolutely
there's definitely those bad things about it, but hey, you know, we got to capitalize on the good out here. We got to
I think
be focused
moderation. Everything is good in moderation.